Ah yes, Adventure Time. It was the peak of 2010 Cartoon Network alongside a few other great shows. The community was enthusiastic, so much great art was made. I immediately take back my statement. For those who weren't there to live through the depths of the fanbase, I'll hand the summary and introduction portion over to my buddy old chum, pal Kennedy.
Ayy.
In this video, we'll uncover the depths of our 13-year-old brains, meaning our oldest season fanfics and all of that good, juicy stuff, and the reason we were drawn to the show in the first place.
Alright, now that I've hijacked the vixelzzz channel, it's time for me to use my new platform to spread the holy gospel. Adventure Time. What is Adventure Time, you may ask? It's complicated. There are almost 300 episodes and like 10 seasons in total. So I'm gonna try to summarize this as concisely as I can, but and Adventure Time is my special interest, so buckle in because this summary is not gonna be concise. Adventure Time is about the world's only human boy, Finn, and his magical, shape-shifting adult dog brother Jake as they go on adventures in the land of Ooh, which is made up of a bunch of different kingdoms that have their own arbitrary noun-themed geography and their own hot, arbitrary noun-themed princesses. Finn is a literal 12-year-old child that murders the evil things and rescues the good things. Jake helps? He mostly just watches his brother get wrecked and gives him unintentional advice. At worst, he's a direct obstacle to Finn's good intentions, but Jake carries the good vibes. Okay, you can't hate him. Finn white knights for the much older Princess Bubblegum as she keeps getting kidnapped by the Ice King. The Ice King is a lonely senile perv who collects penguins and princesses and tries to kiss both of them to no avail. Marceline is hot. Okay, I think I actually got through that pretty quickly. Okay, I think I mentioned all the major characters. Wait. I forgot the Lich King. Okay, so season 2 finale, we meet the Lich, who's the show's big bad guy. He tries to return the world to the destruction it faced during the Great Mushroom War. Okay, wait. Let me start over. Okay, so all the magic and arbitrary noun geography is the result of a nuclear war that happened like 1,000 years ago. But no one who lived back then is still around. Okay, so the Ice King used to be a dork named Simon, but he put on a crown that made him crazy and immortal, and he lived through the Great Mushroom War. But before he went crazy and immortal, he took care of baby Marceline, who was also alive back then, because her dad was the king of the Nightosphere, and he ate her fries. And how do you summarize Adventure Time? Okay, I'm gonna start backwards. The whole reason this video even exists is because I was recently diagnosed with the Weezer Blue Boogaloo, and all the multicolored puzzle pieces of my life have started falling into place. If you don't know what it is or how it works, that's okay. The CDC defines as a developmental brain disorder, but isn't exactly a clear-cut thing even by that definition. I don't know everything about or all the different ways it can manifest. I can only explain how my has affected me over the years and my interests in things over the years. Trauma dumping time! Growing up, I didn't really understand social cues, so making friends didn't happen. I avoided talking to the other kids, but when I did talk to the other kids, I only knew how to talk about the things I was deeply and uniquely passionate about. Basically, my special interests. Adventure Time definitely became my special interest when I was around 11, as evidenced by my embarrassingly extensive collection of Adventure Time memorabilia. But lately I've been asking myself, why this show specifically? I recently started rewatching seasons 3 and 4 of the show, and it's really just reminded me of why I flocked to the show in the first place. Beyond the hijinks and the jokes, the characters are just relatable. Finn loved Princess Bubblegum, but she had no interest in him. The Ice King wanted to be friends with Finn and Jake, but he was weird and creepy. At the end of the day, even friends and brothers disagreed and fought with each other, but at the end of every single episode, they still made up in a way that didn't feel forced. The characters in the show were just so compassionate that it was impossible for anyone to stay mad at each other for too long. As an kid who felt like she was constantly getting things wrong socially, coming home to the show and watching characters love and forgive each other's transgressions unconditionally felt so reassuring. I rapidly consumed every ounce of content that the online fanbase had to offer. Theories, fan fiction, fan art, cosplay, song covers. Seeing other people who were passionate about the same show I was very good and very necessary for my soul. I also listened to Adventure Time's DVD bonus commentaries religiously. And when I heard the cast and crew laughing and uplifting each other with each passing episode, I knew that I wanted to be an animator. Seeing professionals make things together for the show and seeing fans make things for each other on the internet inspired me to create my own stuff in hopes that someday I could create my own community that way. Instead, I created cringe. But I'm not the only one.
And of course, with all great fan bases comes great responsibility. Now for the lovely OCs created during this era of greatness. Sit down, buckle up, because this is going to be wild, and yes, there will be a much-deserved, painfully written fanfic afterwards, so stay tuned for cringe. So we'll cover my OC first, because she's so wild and she's really out there, and she doesn't fit into the world, but... So this is her. I don't have much art of her, unfortunately, because most of it was in an old composition notebook that was stolen from me in the lovely grade of the 8th grade. So feast your eyes on the select few drawings I managed to salvage from my much-needed-to-be-burned pile of old art. Nova was, to say the least Adventure Time character to ever exist. I was so dead set on her having to be some kind of edgy scene wolf that I did not care how she looked. I did not care if she fit into the character set of Adventure Time. And she also seconded as a regular show character, but that is a whole nother video for a whole nother time. She also looked like a narco ripoff. My 13-year-old self really saw the Hug Wolf from Adventure Time and went, man, I could make this into a furry. She by no means fits into the universe or doesn't fit into any of the lore, but she just existed under Marceline's ruling, which I never elaborated on. It was just some footnotes on the side of a sketch. She was apparently Marceline's long-lost sibling who was also secretly a vampire wolf. She also supported her music from a sheepish distance. She was into editing songs and had a weird rip-off version of BMO that functioned like a DJ stand. She was notorious for disturbing the peace because she had parties in the stock woods, and the locals of the woods would be upset. It was kind of like an underground DJing thing. Like I said, it was pretty bad, and I kind of wish I had more to elaborate on because I know she was a lot worse than what I'm giving off, but I have no memory, no recollection of her other than these 5 pieces of art. And I'll admit that some of this art is shamefully traced, as kids do, I guess. However, next we'll move on to a blind reaction where me and Kennedy look over her old OCs and some crispy, juicy visuals to bless your eyeballs.
Hello! We're back on this bullshit again.
Of course we're back on this bullshit. Why would we not be?
I have some fan art in this giant sketchbook. So this is probably my first Adventure Time fan art. I was like, I'm gonna do a poster for Adventure Time. This was before I knew what like OCs were and that it was okay, you could just like create your own characters. So I didn't even trace these. Can you tell?
Okay, but they're really good. How old were you?
Like 11.
That's really, really good for being 11 and not tracing Adventure Time characters.
Ice King used to be a normal nerd named Simon Petrikov, and he went psycho because he put on the crown. And he had like a hot girlfriend.
It's been like 10 years, forgive me.
And baby gay Kennedy was like, wow, that's a hot girlfriend. Why didn't she get a story? So I created a story for her. And her entire story, she does not pass the Bechdel test on any level. Her entire story is trying to save her insane husband who disappeared. I don't know if they were married. I created like a bunch of OCs, so this is like the blonde bimbo who would be like part of like this team of people who like track these artifacts and like figure out what the fuck is going on here. So she's just a blonde bimbo, and you can see I made a mood chart, and you can tell that they're different moods because they're different colors.
They're colored. The angry is the red, and the sad is the blue.
Yeah, I knew color theory.
Bro bet.
I don't remember who the fuck she's supposed to be.
Kirby Jane.
She looks boring, so I'm assuming she was the boss.
I love that there's only a head but no body.
He looks like what I, at 12, thought an edgy rocker would look like. But I don't remember. I should have wrote this down. So I had that alternate universe, but the universe that was much more expansive, that was much more fleshed out, was the Fiona and Cake alternate universe. Because I saw the gender-swapped episode and, like, lost my mind.
I think that was everyone's, like, young artist coming to Jesus moment when Fiona and Cake was introduced, because that introduced them to gender swap.
Yes, Fiona and Cake. So there was a lot of fan art. Like, that's when I started getting really into fan art. And after seeing so much fan art, I was like, man, why aren't there any, like, fan animations? Because I want to see, like, animated content. But I was like, man, I'm gonna create my own animated series. So, this is Monochrome Princess. So in normal Adventure Time, there's Lady Rainicorn, but in Fiona and Cake Adventure Time, the man version is Lord Monochromicorn. And so I was like, man, I bet there's royalty attached to that, because in Adventure Time there's royalty for everything. So I made Monochrome Princess, and her entire role was just to be the fake girlfriend of Prince Gumball. They had a political alliance to work together and keep Fiona pining after Gumball.
I love that so much. There's so much drama.
Then we have Leah Mertens. She's a witch. Like, so like,
there's more of her.
Yeah, repetition. We're told, like, repetition. You gotta repeat a character design to figure out what works and what doesn't. She is making DreamWorks face. I was 12. But I knew I wanted her to have, like, green skin because she was a witch. And, but she wasn't born a witch like the other witches in Adventure Time. She was Fiona's secret sister. What?
And the second one, what happened to the second one? Did you just, like, kill her off? She's non-existent!
And Leah was a self-insert. And she was a Mary Sue. She could do no wrong. She was a bitch. She hated Fiona, and Fiona, like, never knew why. That was Leah, and Leah was my favorite. Leah was my baby. I loved her more than anyone else because she was just who I wanted to be. This is the only one I ever put on the internet. It's Pawn Swan. The gender swapped version of Choose Goose. I put this on DeviantArt. I spent a long time on this. Okay, and then the very last one that has nothing to do with the Fiona and Cake universe, but I was, like, really into when I was, like, 14 and older.
Jewel,
my final OC.
She's fully colored.
Yes, she is fully colored. I improved a little, but she is a pirate. And, of course, because no woman can exist in any of my universes without being a love interest, she's Finn's love interest.
Of course.
She's not like other teenage girls. She is a pirate captain. Yeah, and she's 14, but she's not really. Because
she's like, how old is she really?
She's actually the personification of the Enchiridion. Because he loves adventure, he loves her! And that's Jewel. And that was, like, the last creative thing I ever did.
And last but not least, and arguably the best part, the fanfic. BOIS, which should actually be renamed to Love Triangle, except it's not even a love triangle, it's not even a square, but every boy is in love with the main character. Fiona and Cake are sitting in their treehouse intensely staring at one another. Fiona suddenly forgets the task at hand and blinks. Dang it, she says, annoyed. Well, what are we gonna do today? Cake excitedly reads off of a paper. I've got a lot of stuff planned. First, we'll go to the Breakfast Kingdom, and then we'll go force wizards to give us powers, and then... Oh, well, I was kind of hoping to visit Flame Prince today. Ooh, Cake smugly smiles. Go talk to your boyfriend. Fiona blushes and giggles and then walks out of the treehouse. On the way to Flame Prince's house, Prince Gumball bumps into her. Would you like to help me with an experiment? He asks. Fiona blushes again but explains why she wants to see Flame Prince instead, and that Cake is also busy. Gumball walks away sadly. Fiona comes across a cave and attempts to find Flame Prince's house. She walks in and is greeted by a jump scare from Marshall. I'm on my way to see FP, Fiona says, dismissing Marshall's scare tactics. But we were gonna play a prank on Gumball, he reminds her. Maybe another time, Fiona says, and continues walking. He blushes in jealousy. Time skip. Gumball and Marshall are having a heated discussion. Help me sabotage Flame Prince and make him look bad in front of Fiona. Gumball blushes. You can't mess with people's relationships like that. You want to help me because you're jealous of Flame Prince. Gumball blushes a beet red. No, I'm not. Then I'll tell Fiona about your little project. Gumball blushes even harder. How'd you know about that? Okay, fine, I'll help sabotage, but how? Marshall then holds up Flame Prince's journal diary thing.
I know his weaknesses, we just gotta make it freak out in front of Fiona, and then she won't be girly anymore. I hate girly people.
Meanwhile, Fiona finally makes it to Flame Prince's house. They are lying in the grass. I am leaving to the Fire Kingdom. Bye, I can't be with you anymore. Fiona's heart breaks in two. She is in utter disbelief.
Your mom is making you. Why that little...
No, it's my decision to leave. But my mom's here and she can't see me with you. They then hide in a bush. I'll explain it if you meet me at 7 o'clock for one last date. No, I don't do dates. Please! He asks with sparkles in his eyes. Fiona agrees under the agreement of an explanation. It is now 7 p.m. Fiona and Flame Prince are on the beach having their date. Flame Prince explains in detail why he has to leave.
You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger.
But I think that I like you. Fiona blushes. Yeah, by being boyfriend and girlfriend, which is what we are. Flame Prince blushes and inches closer to Fiona. No, you don't understand my powers. They're being controlled by my emotions. But I think I love you. He inches closer again. I love you deeper than a crush. My powers go wild for you. He inches even closer. Have this sandwich, he says, handing Fiona a sandwich. She blushes deeply and eats the sandwich. I think I like you too. Marshall and Gumball walk over to them, but they are invisible.
We just gotta make him mad. I found that out by reading his diary entries,
Marshall announces. I'll push her into the ocean, Gumball says, and walks over to her and tries pushing her in. Right as he does so, his invisibility potion wears off and he is caught in the act. He blushes a deep red once again. Marshall appears too.
All I did was push your girlfriend. Stop acting like a psycho about it.
Suddenly, Flame Prince bursts into his fire form angrily and threatens to kill Marshall, sending flames their way. Gumball then fills his crown with water and throws it onto Flame Prince. He writhes on the ground in pain and disintegrates into thin air. No! Flame Prince! Fiona cries and runs away, heartbroken. Gumball runs after her. He stops her, grabs her face, and kisses her. Fiona, I love you. She then slaps him and runs back to the treehouse. End of scene 1. I have a couple questions about this fanfic. It's a lot to unpack. Do you have any final words or opinions about your little child self writing this lovely love square triangle jumble mess?
Boys! And look at Kate's just disappointed face. She's like, I know you're a lesbian. Just figure this shit out. And Beagle's just like, oh no. Flame Prince was supposed to be in the bottom. I never included him because I didn't really know how to draw him. I mean, did I know how to draw any of them? Clearly not.
Too many boys. I love the perspective. There's no perspective on any of these.
Absolutely not. I was trying to make like one of those like title cards.
Are they in picture frames?
They are in picture frames.
They look more like mirrors.
Okay, so obviously looking back at these was an emotional roller coaster that neither of us really wanted to go on. But later in the distant future, we do plan on redrawing and revamping our old Adventure Time OCs, so they're not dead and lost to the past. I don't remember what voices I gave them. I took a 2-second pause. Girly anymore. I hate girly people. Oh my god, I can't with these voices. I don't know what I'm giving them. Meanwhile, Fiona finally makes it to But I think that I like you. For those who weren't there to love.
She's just the typical self-insert.
She's Blood Flame.
She's Blood Flame!
Look at her. Oh my god,
she's got the red hair.
We need to draw her and Blood Flame hanging out. That's what we need to do. Instead of a redraw, it's like a redesign.
They could be flipping each other off. You may want to scooch slightly closer. I don't know if it's gonna make it explode if you get closer, or if you're. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
It's going.
Okay, so everyone had those Mark Crilly books, right? that like taught you how to draw manga.
Oh, the
and
how to draw?
Yeah.
The thing we did the most recent zine about?
Yeah. Like, I took it as gospel.
Yeah, me too.
As every 12-year-old does.
I had one of the How to Draw Furries books, and I think it ruined me in 5th grade. I brought it to school and I got in trouble.
What? Why'd you get... Did it have smut in it?
It didn't, but it had, like, foxes with a zonker. No, it wasn't 5th grade, it was 4th grade, and I remember it was taken from me by another kid, handed to my teacher, and my teacher came up to me, and he laid the How to Draw Furries book on my desk, and he was like, "This is really inappropriate. Do not bring this back to school." I'm like,
wow.
I'm just trying to learn how to draw!
It's figure drawing. It's nature.